Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Going for Two Sunday morning start sit stream. I don't know why I said it like that, but I hope everyone's entertained.
I enjoyed it.
Good, great. My co-hosts like it. I'm Kyle Senra, joined by Jamie Perog and Topher Kurt. Jamie, how are you doing this morning?
Doing good. Just got done setting my 35 lineups, so I am good to go.
Jesus.
Topher, how are you doing, and what are your thoughts on Jamie's 35 lineups?
I'm not doing too bad. And 35 lineups gave me a mini aneurysm the first time that I heard it. So yeah, affecting my health just thinking about it.
Well, luckily, Jamie did mention it before we went live, so we weren't totally shocked on camera when everyone watching.
Everybody else was shocked though.
Yes, we were more mentally prepared. Zach here to talk about how great Topher is and how awful Jamie and I are at his picks. Although I actually think I did pretty well last week because we had just to tap myself on the shoulder. Every Ken Walker question, I was telling people smash Ken Walker in the lineup, and that turned out to actually be the right call. So
yeah,
I don't know if Zach's question involved Ken Walker, but it did. I finally got a Zach question right. I don't think it was. I don't think he was one of the Ken Walker askers though. So I probably messed up again, Zach. Sorry, but thanks again for joining us. And curious to hear Zach's question as well as everyone else's start sit questions. So if you want to ask, feel free to join us on the Going for Two Live YouTube channel. Subscribe as well because there's also great shows all throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
Topher apparently co-hosting the Armchair Fantasy Show now every week. Two weeks in a row. You did awesome.
Yeah, thank you. The two podcasts that I've guest starred on through this website have had me back the following week. So I take that as a win.
You're doing something right?
Right.
Yeah. So as well as the YouTube, though, we were also on Twitch, on Facebook. You know, Jamie, you do a ton of different Facebook groups for fantasy football and stuff. So feel free to head over to any of those sites and ask away your questions. Like Zach's question, start us off with expectations for Odell Beckham Jr., who activated by the Dolphins off the pup list. So he will play. Are there any good expectations for anyone for this?
There are no good nor great expectations here. I mean, it's the Dolphins. Tyreek can't even get off. Can't pull anything off. Waddle can't pull anything off. Until Tua's back in the lineup and there's something established there, Odell is just sitting on my bench. He might have one game where he breaks, might pull like a 40-yard touchdown in randomly, but that's not enough for me to want him to be on my team.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Like you said, until Tua's back, it seems like pretty awful for any Dolphins player. Like, I'm not benching Tyreek Hill in the one league I have him, but man, it almost feels like I should, but I'll just stubbornly keep playing. Because I think, like, even last year, I'm thinking of when he was with the Ravens, Beckham still had some games with zeros. And when he was fairly healthy, like he played the previous week, he played the week after, like no injury related, but just not catching the passes. And that's with Lamar Jackson, who even when Tua is healthy, I still think Lamar's a better quarterback. So, it's certainly Lamar's a better quarterback than Tyler Huntley, because that's why Huntley was his backup for all this time. So yeah, I agree. Jamie, I imagine you're the same. You're not considering playing Beckham until Tua is back at the very least.
I wouldn't even consider rostering Beckham. I don't know why.
That's true too. It doesn't even matter if Tua is there. You're saying.
Yeah, even if Tua is there, no way in heck. I think he's available in all my leagues, and I'm not even interested at all.
I gotta say, I think he earned something like a 16% target share last year with Baltimore. So, I mean, in theory, like he could be that number 3 target for the Dolphins. I think I only have him in one league, and it was easy to stash him because he was on PUP for so long. Yeah. And now it's complicated because now he's active. It's like, I had to actually drop someone to keep Beckham on the lineup. So it was easy. It was easy to roster him the last 3 weeks. Not so much now, but it's he's unplayable at the very least until Tua is back. But even that first week Tua is back, I'd have a hard time throwing Beckham in the lineup until you see what he does with Tua. Would you, Topher? You seem a little more optimistic. Would you, if you had Beckham, I don't know if you have him on any teams, but if you do have him, would you throw him in the lineup the first week Tua's back?
No, I would wait, like you said with T. Higgins, wait until he proves something. Like I think it was a very different deal being on Baltimore versus being in Miami. And because Baltimore didn't have those opportunity, didn't have a whole lot of competition compared to the wide receiver stalwarts of Hill and Waddle.
Yeah, I guess with Baltimore, the biggest competition was one wide receiver in Zay Flowers, but the other one was a tight end in Mark Andrews. So Beckham he was basically the number 2 wide receiver, so he's out there for most of the time anyway. Yeah, they could like reduce his snaps. Okay, let's selectively play Beckham at key times, which could be like high leverage opportunities, but it'll be so tough to trust on such little volume.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right. Wait till he produces until he gets in. So Zach has his first question. Before we get to that, though, because I want to address this before we get to anything else. Complications with the 1Z positions, specifically quarterback and tight end in a lot of leagues. When you have a questionable player at those positions, that's where you have to be like really ensure you've got options. When you have a questionable wide receiver, you're like, well, there's going to have other wide receivers on my bench. So like, wide receiver depth is so easy to get that, a questionable wide receiver, you could work around that pretty easily. But when you've got a tight end or a quarterback that's questionable, and especially the way I play tight end in a lot of leagues, if I'm got a George Kittle or a Trey McBride, I'm not worried about a backup tight end. Except this week, because they're both questionable and at later games. So there's a lot of you're limited in terms of your options to replace them with. So the first thing is, I think, if you've got Kittle or McBride, make sure you've got another option that plays at 4 p.m. Eastern or later. Could even be a Monday night game. But the tricky thing is how many options are available. So I know for myself, the one league where I have Trey McBride, I picked up Colby Parkinson. Did that also in another league with Kittle. So Colby Parkinson might be for the Rams tight end. He might be that good option. Their top 2 receivers are out. The Packers linebackers really aren't that great in coverage.
No. No, they're not.
Remember the Titans game? The first drive of the Titans game. I don't think Will Levis has ever looked better than when he was targeting a bunch of random tight ends. Like Josh Wiley had like 3 or 4 catches on that opening drive. And like Quay Walker, McDuffie, Eric Wilson, none of them could cover them. It was like first downs every time. So that's like the one weakness right now for the Packers, which is weird because the Joe Barry defense is actually really good at defending against tight ends. So maybe we found the weakness of the Jeff Hafley defense is tight ends. Colby Parkinson, not a huge threat, but still, like he might be a good matchup guy. So if you've got Kittle or McBride, Colby Parkinson is probably one of the best options available. Heck, if Tucker Kraft's there, for sure go with him. What I found is, though, in those leagues where I'm trying to find a replacement for Kittle, Tucker Kraft isn't available. He's already been picked up. He would obviously be the probably the guy you'd want. I'm trying to think of so Monday night game. You've got Foster Moreau or Juwan Johnson. You'd probably go with Colby Parkinson.
Yeah, I mean, Juwan Johnson could be serviceable. He has his moments, which is great for him. You have Greg Dulcich you have Theo Johnson, who really hasn't done anything with the Giants.
Dulcich just had some games with targets. Like he would be if Parkinson isn't there. I think I'd still prefer Parkinson over all them.
Oh, I agree.
Dulcich is probably the number 2.
Well, yeah, I would not run with him by any means. And I'm looking here. Somebody, even though it is not if you're very hesitant about a player, somebody that I would pick up that does play at noon is or 1, depending on your time zone, is Eric All, the tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals. He has had 4 targets for 4 receptions in each of the last 3 games. They've not been anything huge or great, but he is consistently getting targets. He's going to score you, 5-6 points better than a dud of a guy being on a bench, being out. So it's not a great pick, but he's a great pickup in Dynasty.
I hate flexing a tight end, but for Kittle and McBride, those are high upside enough guys that you're okay flexing them. So yeah, go pick up an Eric Hall, play him in the tight end spot. And that way, if you flex Kittle or McBride, you can then have other options that aren't just tight ends. I've got a league where I'm trying not to start Mark Andrews, but this Kittle injury makes it so tough that, okay, I'm putting Andrews in the tight end spot, play Kittle in the flex. It's a dynasty league, which is why I have both. That'd have been awful to take both in redraft. Not advocate for that. But what that's going to allow me is if Kittle's out, I picked up Kevontae Turpin, and with Brandon Cooks on IR, Turpin's probably the number 3 wide receiver. That could be 4 targets after Ferguson and CD and probably Jalen Tolbert. But yeah, I think it's not awful to flex a tight end if their name is George Kittle or Trey McBride, and Eric All might be a good option to enable you to have that.
Yes.
Jamie, anything you want to chime in on any of these tight ends?
No, I think you guys hit it all, but we do have a super chat.
Yeah,
just came in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we do have Zach's question to get to first.
I think super chats trump every other question.
I don't know what a super chat is.
So it means it says €5. So someone gave us €5.
Very much.
So
gotcha.
Thank you.
That makes
Robin Rosiers. Sorry, Robin, if I mispronounced your last name. But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
So got a bench one: Brian Robinson, Tyreek Hill, Dontavian Wicks, or Trey Sermon. Like, I mean, if Brian Robinson doesn't play, then there's really no question at all, right? It's going to be him. But if he's active, I would play Brian Robinson.
Yes.
Upside.
This might sound messy, but I'm leaning Hill.
Part of me was thinking that too. I have Wicks ranked ahead of Hill in the wide receiver rankings. The other thing too, Robin, can you let us know the scoring settings if this is full PPR, half PPR?
Well, it says standard. I'm assuming it's non-PPR.
Oh, standard. Right. I missed that.
Yeah.
See, I feel like I see that. And okay, so no PPR.
Yeah. Tua. Here's what Tua's done over the past 3 weeks. He's had 10 receptions, 0 touchdowns for 87 yards.
That's 3 weeks combined.
Yes, that is 3 weeks combined.
Yeah, Hill's been pretty awful.
Frustrated last week. He was getting pissed.
And the Patriots are that team that they will take away the best option. So now at this point, is Hill the best option or is it Achane? I still think there's no way that they're going to let Hill run free. So they'll probably beat him while he's down, right? Okay, this guy is not doing well. Let's not give him any momentum. Let's just tight coverage.
And looking at Achane and Waddle, they both have better stats than Hill over the past 3 weeks.
I actually like Achane this week. I think they have no choice but to run.
Correct.
Because they're not passing really well. Yeah, man. Bench Tyreek Hill as if we're already there.
Right?
I'm kind of agreeing with you, Topher. Jamie, are you
out of all these, Wicks is a definite play. I love Wicks this week. Great matchup. I bet his anytime touchdown.
Watch
Brian
Melton
Thomas.
get to.
I did hear Brian Thomas is going to be active.
Robinson.
Robinson. So I would start him. Sermon, I'm not a big fan.
I think he was limited through practice this week. I think all the signs are pointing that he's not 100%, but he should be good to go. If he's in, I think he's a definite start.
So yeah, I'm gonna agree. You got to sit Tyreek Hill, especially if it's not PPR.
Yeah, if it was full PPR, I might say sit Sermon, just because we assume he's going to get all the work. We don't know that he's going to get all the work, though. Yeah, it could just be easy, like a 3-way committee, and none of them really dominate. That's my one fear with Sermon, is that we think he's a smart play, but he might not be.
Yeah.
Without any PPR scoring, though, I think you still favor the running backs there for sure.
Breaking news: Aaron Rodgers is down on the field grabbing his knee.
But then it says Aaron Rodgers was on his way to the medical tent and now he's back in right after that. I was watching that and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, because he hasn't really suffered any knee injuries in his career. It's been collarbones and then the Achilles tear, but knee injury would be new for him.
So we're all in agreement to sit Tyreek Hill on that question. Wow. That's crazy. Can you believe
that? Not even one of us was bold. All 3 of us are saying sit Tyreek Hill. So hopefully this isn't the week he goes off, Robin. If you've got the confidence to actually make that play and bench Tyreek Hill. All right, so Zach, Ramondre Stevenson, Wan'Dale Robinson, or Trey Sermon. I feel like he almost asked the same question week 1, but instead of Sermon, it was Jameson Williams. really flubbed that one, didn't we?
I remember this. And then this one is actually easy because I was the one that said never start Wandale when he asked us week 1. I'm gonna say start Wandale. Because listen, he's top 5 in targets. He's actually top 5 in target share. I believe he's top 6 or tied for 6 with red zone targets, and he's top 10 in catchable targets, and that's crazy. Thinking who's throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, with
although not so crazy that a slot receiver is high in catchable targets, right? Like that sort of is the nature of that role why we like it so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Malik Neighbors, he should targets.
Yeah, I don't see his role changing. I don't think he's going to get any more. I don't think he's going to get any less with Neighbors out. So I would definitely go Wandale.
I mean, the offense is probably going to go through him because Singletary is going to be out too. So like your two of your 3 best offensive weapons probably are gone. So to me, like the offense probably runs through Wandale this week.
Yeah, my order is Wandale 1, Sermon 2, Ramondre 3.
Yeah, that's how I would have it too.
Yeah, this whole thought of Ramondre not getting the start and it's going to be Antonio Gibson, then it has lead me to at least throw Gibson in one lineup, I think. So, and again, I've already talked about with Sermon. We don't know for sure that he's getting every touch. Like it might be a committee. We know Wandale's the guy because even when Neighbors is there, he's still getting targets. So yeah, certainly will. As Jamie said, his role isn't going to change much.
It is quite literally Neighbors and Wandale and nobody else getting anything there.
Yep.
Yeah. So Wandale Robinson. We're all in agreement, Zach. There we go. We're in unison, which means it's probably going to go horrible. Daniel Howland joined us from Facebook. Good morning, Daniel. He says, "Hi guys. Need a flex with all of these buys." Yeah, that's true. Starting Kraft in the tight end spot, pretty solid. Pick a flex. 1 point PPR. Tank Dell, Brock Bowers, Roschon Johnson. I'm sure Jamie loves the way that name is spelled.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm going Bowers here.
Same.
I think Devontae Adams is out. They're playing the Broncos, so Broncos are going to put Surtain over Jacoby Myers, pretty much. And then that means Trey Tucker is going to be your number 1 receiver that you're fighting against, and they're going to need to pass in this game. Bowers, easy.
Yeah, I actually had I put a bet on a Bowers anytime touchdown, and I actually, with the way that offense, there's no one else there, plus Surtain is going to be locking down the receivers. I put a few dollars on his 2 touchdowns, just in case, because you never know.
Yeah. Zamir White out too, so that maybe means they run less. So just more pass volume. Again, no Adams. I mean, honestly, I rank Bowers as my tight end 1 this week.
Yeah, plus Bowers with White White out. Bowers can play running back. They can design a few runs for him. He's done it in college.
And you're probably thinking he's a better running back than Alexander Madison.
Oh, he is, definitely.
I will say I am starting at Madison in a couple spots this week just because he's.
I do love how he just threw Roschon Johnson in there. I respect anyone that has a Roschon Johnson question.
Yeah, there you go, Daniel. You've earned Jamie's respect, but I think I tend to agree with Bowers. Are you the same, Topher?
Yeah. Oh, easily. Bowers for sure.
I like Tank Dell, but coming off the injury, we don't know how much he's going to play.
He's only been getting like a 15% target share. Hasn't really been involved much.
He's running a ton of routes. It seems like his snaps aren't the best, but it seems like the plays where he's not in is run plays because they learned from last year. Let's maybe not have him run block at the goal line right in the middle while these defensive linemen crushing him. So they've gotten away from that. But like when he's out there, he's running routes, but just because he's running routes the same time as Nico Collins, though, there's no guarantee you're getting the target.
Exactly.
Yeah, first week back from injury is super scary to trust. Like I said, I have Bowers ahead of Kraft. So to me, the question wouldn't be Bowers. Like to me, Bowers is the automatic start, and you're asking, do you could start Kraft as a flex over these guys? And I kind of think yes. No Romeo Doubs, no Christian Watson.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 3 good receivers there still with Reed, Wicks, and Melton, but still going to have time. And there's a chance Luke Musgrave doesn't play, so Kraft might play like 100% of the snaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's like 2 questions this morning where we're advocating going for 2 tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some great situations. Yeah, Zach knows it. The Wandale dud incoming. We all say we'll go Wandale Robinson. Good luck, Zach.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he wants to not play Wandale just because we all suggested it. And like,
Yeah. I'm playing Wandale. I'm playing Wandale. Everywhere I got him.
Does have another question with this one's tricky, I think. PPR, Bo Melton, Antonio Gibson, Austin Eckler. I'm guessing just start one, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's between Gibson and Eckler for me.
And that honestly, Jamie, might come down to is Brian Robinson active? Because if
Correct.
Robinson's out, I think it's Eckler pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
If Robinson's in, though, I mean, I like Bo Melton. Like, he had a better target share last year than Dontavian Wicks did, so there's no reason to say that he's automatically going to be number 3. Like, he could get more targets this week than Wicks if he's out there playing every snap.
Oh yeah.
So this is actually this is probably the toughest question we've been asked this morning, I think.
Oh, easily. I really think it just comes down to, is Brian Robinson healthy? I'm going Gibson unless Robinson's healthy, then I'm going Eckler. Unless if Robinson's not healthy, then I'm going Eckler.
Do we have... Oh, it looks like the Week 5 inactives are announced. I will check this now. Brian Robinson is not listed, so Brian Robinson is, in fact, active. So he's going to play Antonio Gibson time, baby.
Yep.
I mean, he is going to start. That doesn't mean Stevenson's not playing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think I would go Gibson. You could run on Miami, I think. So...
Yeah, I'm going Gibson.
Okay, I'll join in. There is lean towards Melton, though. I gotta say, I think
that saying, like the what's that? The slice of the pies, like only so much to go around.
Yeah,
I mean, you got Kraft, you got Wicks, you got Reed. I don't know if there's going to be room for Melton.
And I mean, pro Packers guy here, Matt LaFleur usually kicks the crap out of Sean McVay. Like they've literally four wins in a row since Matt LaFleur has taken over. They've won 4 times against Sean McVay, 0 losses. And I think only one of those games was a 1-score game technically, even though the Packers were like dominating for 3 quarters.
Exactly.
Kind of back up. That happened to be the year the Rams won the Super Bowl, so they're a pretty good team. But other than that, it's been a bloodbath every time. No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. This could also just be a game where the Packers run a ton. It's lots of Josh Jacobs, lots of Emmanuel Wilson because they don't need to throw. So yeah, Antonio Gibson. I'm all for it. The Patriots are actually favored against the Dolphins. You don't have many game scripts where you can play a Patriots running back favored. So you may as well take advantage of it this week with Gibson.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the rushing lines. Gibson is over-under is 10.5 rushes, and it's only 6.5 for Eckler.
Oh, did we lose Kyle? Hello?
No, didn't lose me. I just I'm a little sick, and I don't want to disgust people by blowing my nose on.
Oh, fun.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. So if you see me cut out, that's probably why. I'm having coffee.
So Zach just put another comment, which is pure gold. I'm all for it.
Yeah, come back every week, Zach, and tell us how wrong we were the previous week. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming back every week for this punishment.
Oh, absolutely.
In all seriousness, we enjoy the interactions, the conversations.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing else yet, but we'll keep as comments keep coming in. We'll keep asking.
Okay.
Have either of you? Because I know there's always someone. He's a Bruins fan. I know he's a big supporter of full press coverage, and that's why he follows me. He always asks a fantasy question every morning. Actually, he asked it yesterday. He usually asks it Sunday morning. But he actually asked it yesterday. So. Okay, so sorry. Yeah, it's it's Austin Eckler or Antonio Gibson. It's the exact same question. I think I'm trying to look. Yeah, I told him. Yeah, if Robinson plays, yeah, do you go Rob? Or you know what I did? I told him actually to play Eckler because his other question was Hunter Henry, Dalton Schultz, or Eric All, and I then said go Hunter Henry. And I was like, okay, probably shouldn't play two Patriots.
Yeah.
But
that's
do you guys agree with that he should play Hunter Henry over Dalton Schultz and Eric? Kofi, you've already mentioned Eric All.
Well, yeah, but I think Hunter Henry has a much higher upside than Eric All. I think Eric All is somebody that's eventually going to be a name that we're going to be excited about, but not right now. Just coasting along for right now.
I mean, I got Gesicki higher than All.
Oh, yeah, me too. I mean, to be fair, I've got Gesicki higher than all three of those guys, but I don't know if Gesicki's available, which is why I was asking about those three. It's Hunter Henry, Dalton Schultz, or Eric All. I told him to go with Henry. I know part of me what drives that is that 12 target game he had week 2. And as Topher said, he's got that upside. We've seen it. We've seen him actualize that upside.
Yes.
So I think those 12 targets are going to make me chase Hunter Henry all year in the rankings.
I got Henry at tight end 13.
I'm around there too. I think 15 maybe.
And let's see, Schultz I got down closer to 20. So yeah, I'm going Henry.
Okay. And then because you're going Henry, this is a situation where you go Eckler over Gibson, or are you fine playing two Patriots?
I don't mind playing two people in the same offense if it's a good offense.
Although it's a Jacoby Brissett offense, is that the type of bad offense that you're fine with? Jacoby Brissett.
So with Brissett, I mean, he could dump off a lot of passes to the running back, and that favors Gibson, right?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, that's been one of his sticks through his whole career has been a pass catching back, but the same can be said for Ramondre too, though.
Yeah.
And if they're worried about Ramondre fumbling with carries, maybe they want to just, we'll just throw him the ball. Then he can drop it and not fumble it. It won't be as costly.
That's not true.
Probably not the way a coach is going to approach that situation. Yeah, I think that one's a little trickier because, the Patriots really aren't, even if they're favored this week, it's such a low-scoring game that you really don't want to go with two guys. So
yes.
I think in that situation, I'm okay going Eckler over Gibson. With Zach's question where, Zach, I assume you're not playing any other Patriots players in your lineup. I think then we like Gibson over Eckler. But if you are playing another Patriot, maybe that does change our answer a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair question.
Okay, well, actually, one thing we can do is just go through the actives, inactives, and see if there's any notable players that are out. With the Bills, I mean, this was announced yesterday, but Khalil Shakir's out at wide receiver, so make sure he's not.
Yes.
Trenton Irwin's out for the Bengals. Not that probably really matters, but
no.
Just in case so people know. Joe Mixon and Damian Pierce are both inactive again. So it's Cam Akers and Dario Gumbawale as the Texans running backs. Richardson is officially inactive. It's Joe Flacco starting. They kind of announced that yesterday. Richardson is doubtful. Evan Ingram out again for the Jaguars. So Bretton Strange is the starting tight end, which is great because the league where I had Goddard and needed a tight end. There weren't much, so Bretton Strange it is. And if Evan was active, I was really going to be in a panic there. Thank you, Evan Ingram, for not playing again. Dolphins, Jeff Wilson is inactive. So that means Mostert's back, Achane's there. And I guess Jalen Wright is going to be active as the third guy, not
okay.
Jeff Wilson. Not that Wright's really going to do anything, I think. With
no.
And Achane there. Is Mostert playable this week? I think Achane certainly is, but is Mostert?
Depending on what you need, you could put him in your flex, but I'm not like enthusiastic about it. But it's bye weeks. There are a lot of flex players that are injured this week as well that they could, I have one league where I have who is it? I have Khalil Shakir, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and Noah Brown all injured at my wide receiver position. So if I had Mostert, if I don't have anybody else on my team, I'd throw Mostert out there in my flex, but he's not somebody that I'm looking to start right now. You just don't know what's going to happen with that Miami offense.
See, I think just because it's the Patriots, it's that's really not a good offense either. I think I'm throwing Mostert everywhere I have him.
Yeah.
Part of it is now Jamie and I both write for Fantasy Six Pack, and I've debated a new series with Fantasy Six Pack called the Goal Line Guide.
I did read that. That was very cool.
Yeah,
good
awesome.
job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anyway, so the Dolphins have a really good goal line grade this week, rushing. So if they get close to the end zone, expect a lot of running, and that tends to be Mostert, although Achane has also shown he can do that too. So look for either to have good touchdown upside, and really no one else on the Dolphins. Actually, you know what? Tyler Huntley probably vultures the touchdowns. He gets but
Yep.
That's probably Huntley's more likely way to score than it is through the air.
Yes. So this isn't necessarily start sit, but since we don't have any questions, I in my main dynasty league, I have Josh Allen, Jordan Love, and Baker Mayfield as my 3 quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield has been the one normally on my bench out of those 3 when Jordan Love is playing. But Baker Mayfield is killing it as well. Like, I've got 3 top 5 QBs on my team. Do I trade one of them away? Do I hold on to all 3? What do I do? Because I feel like last week, if I would have started Baker instead of Josh Allen, I win. So it's like it's this double-edged sword of I've got all this, but am I starting the right guy? Could I go out and get a middling quarterback and some, a nicer running back for, send Baker Mayfield somewhere and get a middling quarterback with, running back or wide receiver upgrade?
Yeah, with it being dynasty, I would hold all those young guys. They're studs. Baker's been killing it, man. So if you want to sell high on him, if you can get a top 5 price for him, maybe sell him. But other than that, I would hold on to him.
I mean, I kind of like the idea that you're getting another quarterback, and I think to Jamie's point, maybe middling quarterback and make sure it's like a middling production, but still has dynasty value.
Yes.
QB3. I guess that's a Venn diagram that's pretty tricky of targets.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think of which quarterbacks would be like prime for that, because like you can cheer down to a Derek Carr. That probably doesn't fit your definition of a younger quarterback, right? Jamie?
But it doesn't even have to be a super young quarterback, because Baker is what? Baker is 29. I feel like I could go trade for a Jared Goff or Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I love Purdy. Yeah, that one's great.
Jared Goff.
He's still on a rookie contract. He's super young,
exactly.
Maybe not age-wise, but like NFL experience. So yeah, if you can flip Baker to Purdy, you might not get too much added on top, but even if you get an extra pick that you can use to buy another player. Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah, it's a very interesting situation. I feel like it's I'd much rather be in this situation than, having to decide between, Bo Nix and Gardner Minshew as my, my flex quarterback.
Yeah, there's definitely a league where it's Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, and it's like,
yep,
not going
exactly,
so well.
Exactly.
I mean, like, Fields is smashing. That's the only reason I'm staying afloat. That was supposed to happen.
Exactly. Well, it might be that Chicago is a place where quarterbacks just can't do what they need to, and they go somewhere else and they have a chance sometimes.
I wonder if a complete incompetent head coach is a huge detriment to a quarterback's development. What a strange concept.
Right? I mean, Malik Willis is the biggest proof of that we've seen in a while, and obviously Sam Darnold right now as well. Like, you're seeing some of these quarterbacks that have had chances elsewhere and not thrived, and they get with the right coaching staff, and it's all of a sudden they're league breakers,
It's funny because Malik Willis, entering that Colts game, said he felt more prepared for the game than he ever did in Tennessee. And that and he's not even blaming the coaches for that. He's talking about his own mentality. Like,
correct.
I wasn't in the right headspace to start a quarterback. At Liberty, he had to do everything himself. He had to play hero ball the whole time. You get to the NFL, you can't really do that. You have to rely on your teammates. And it took him like 2 years to really believe that. So, I mean, could better coaching have drilled that in his head quicker? Maybe. But it also seems like that wasn't necessarily on coaching. That was truly Willis himself needing to mature. Not that he was immature, but there's that whole aspect of relying on your teammates, trusting your teammates. He didn't quite believe that when he was starting in Tennessee. Now,
Well, yeah.
Packers team is much better than Tennessee, so
Yes.
it's easier to trust your teammates there too. But I don't want to necessarily put that on because Vrabel seems like he's a good head coach, and I think anything Willis has talked about, he's kind of saying it's all on me. I needed to be in a better headspace to play quarterback. I wasn't in Tennessee. Can you blame that all on coaching? If they've prepared him with the game plan every week, but it's his mind, maybe not. Maybe LaFleur just insisted he trust his teammates more than what the Titans did. Because he didn't have training camp. He didn't play in the preseason. He had like 2 weeks of practice to get
exactly
ready. But yet he felt more prepared. And it's, maybe that is a bit of coaching too. Oh, Zach asking us another question here.
There we go.
Cole Kmet or Hunter Henry? Oh, the Bears go to die, right? But I actually have Kmet ranked pretty high. Like this is now we're talking level of tight ends that draw enough targets, more targets than Henry. I'm going Kmet.
Yeah, I got Kmet 2 spots higher than Henry as number 11, so I'm willing to go Kmet.
I think I have Kmet in the top 10, so I'm even a little higher. What are you thinking, Topher?
I'm taking a look at this real quick because I focus primarily on wide receivers, and I'm, looking
at targets. How many targets does Kmet have on here?
I mean,
20
besides
targets in 4 games, Henry has.
I mean, for both of them, besides one game, they've both been pretty tough. But I'm gonna go Cole Kmet. I think I like that. I think I like that matchup better. I think I like Bears playing Carolina better, and giving him a little bit more of an opportunity.
Did one of you, because I've been listening to podcasts this morning and I'm kind of sick, so my whole brain is jumbled. Were one of you talking about how like Caleb Williams has like upside this week to get multiple touchdowns? Or was that a different podcast I was listening to?
That was a different one.
Okay. I was going to go back to you guys. Like, great point you made about Caleb Williams potentially having multiple touchdowns, but whoever made that point, I was listening to Wildcard.
It wasn't me.
Okay. We're talking about how Eberflus is a complete disaster for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But they're playing who are they playing this week? Chicago's playing the Panthers. So we're talking about disaster franchises.
Yeah.
So in my goal line guide article this week, the Bears do have a higher goal line grade passing than the Patriots. It's not that far off. 73.5 for the Bears, 69.5 for the Patriots. We're talking about on a scale of the lowest score this week is 29, the highest is 109.5. So to be 4 points difference is pretty close. Like that's almost identical. But the Patriots rushing grade is 88.5, whereas the Bears rush grade is only 72. So their passing grade is actually higher, whereas for the Patriots, there's a big disparity. So all that tells me is the Bears are more likely to score more touchdowns than the Patriots were when it comes to passing. Now, again, we talked about like why we like Gibson, why we theory Ramondre too. More chances of rushing touchdowns for that. But I think with the Bears, I don't see it being a huge rushing touchdown week. So sorry, Jamie, about Roschon this week. I don't find the end zone. But I can see Kmet getting that touchdown. So now Zach can be double burned by Kmet and Gibson based on the goal line grades. So perfect. Now, if the goal line grades work out, Zach, we don't know. That's the real process. This is the first week. I usually like to wait 4 weeks of data before I start doing these matchup-based goal line grades. To create that, if anyone read the article, I talk about my methodology. I collect all the data from every play inside the 5 all season because I want to know not only offense's efficiency, but I also want to know defensive efficiency. This is a matchup-based thing. So I want defensive stats, cross-reference with the offense they're playing, and that's how I end up getting these goal line grades.
Yeah, I'm sure that takes a lot of work right there.
It does. It's probably, between that and rankings, that's most of what I do during the week.
Yeah.
That impacts my rankings, though. Like I do, once like the goal line grades are complete, then that's what's also impacting some of the rankings for certain players.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So while we're waiting for more questions, I will share my screen here. I'm going to share a few things, but I do want to show people what the goal line guide actually is. Now, this is not what you get in the article. This is more detailed. for the article, I'm simply giving you each team's rushing grade, their passing grade, and then the difference between each of those grades. A lot more information here, though, for me to create the grades. So this is what I have to offer. It's the article itself's a little more simple with the table, and I give some good explanations. I think I give good explanations. Topher can confirm that. But yeah, this is kind of my whole. This is kind of the database I have. So all the offenses, the number of plays they've run inside the goal line. So all their rushing attempts. I'm pointing at the screen, realizing that's useless. The number of touchdowns they've gotten, the percentage, as well as then that same offense goal line pass attempts, and then touchdowns and percentage. Then I also have the defensive database, which again, same thing. How many rush attempts they've faced inside their own 5-yard line. And that's what I mean by goal line, is within 5 yards of a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, that's all the data that I copy over to each week's sort of matchup goal line guide. So this is obviously the week 5 one, week 6. I'll make a new one next week. It kind of just gives some reference. Do I need to zoom in? Is this all?
No, you can see it. Good. So do you have it? Hold on. So do you rank it? How do you rank it? Or like, how is it organized right now? It looks like it's organized by the over under. Is that
yes.
Is that the over under you give, or is that the over under that Vegas gives, or?
Yeah, exactly. Usually Monday morning, I go get all the games over under lines, and then each team's implied total based on that. So that's the first thing I start with. Okay. And to me, the because I want to do it match, I want to do both teams next to each other. That was the easiest way I felt to organize this particular chart. Yeah, because the same stat will apply to both teams.
Yes. So so it says run average, pass average. So like I'm looking at the Arizona one, and then I'm looking. It says run average, over under, pass average. Does it scroll down to the right more so then you can see the San Fran run and pass average? Or is that, I guess I'm confused on how those numbers collide in the middle.
Sure. Okay. So so what I do is the first thing I do when I create this spreadsheet is just get the lines. So what is the over under for each game? And then get each team's implied total. And then I will organize it based off the over under. All this on this side is for Arizona. And everything on this side is for San Francisco.
Gotcha.
And these middle columns are actually probably the most important. The difference between the two grades. Because if you have a team that has two really high grades, all that's really telling you is, okay, there's a good chance they score touchdowns near the goal line, but it's not really, is it coming on the ground or through the air? When you have a big disparity in difference, like the Steelers at plus 36.5 for their rushing grade. So if the Steelers are going to score goal line touchdowns, it's probably coming on the ground. Because they only have one passing touchdown inside the 5 themselves. The Cowboys have allowed 0 so far this year. But they've allowed 4 goal line rushing touchdowns. So the Steelers are more likely to score a touchdown on the ground. That's probably the likeliest bet. Now, do you bet on Najee? Do you bet on Justin Fields? In the article I mentioned, like, Najee's probably a good play for volume, but he probably doesn't have the upside that the goal line guy would indicate, because Fields is taking a lot of the carries inside the 5, and he's the one that's scoring them. Like, Najee has 0 touchdowns inside the 5 this year. He's got a couple carries, but Justin Fields has more carries, and I think he's got 3 rushing touchdowns inside the 5. So while Najee, in theory, from this is a good play, you also have to take the context. And there's a lot of different websites that will offer individual player data in terms of who gets carries inside the 5. I use 4for4. You can subscribe to 4for4, but their red zone data is all free. So you can just go to 4for4. They've got what they call, I think in the research section, there's a red zone stats. They divide it to receiving, rushing, and passing. So you can look, and they divide it to red zone, but also inside the 5 or inside the 10. You can really see like what individual players are getting the attempts. What I'm doing, though, I'm collecting team data, because the reason I do it is because I have not found this anywhere else. I've looked for years. So eventually I was like, well, I'm going to do it myself. And so for years now, I have been doing it myself because I want to know this data. Look at, just individual players. But now I really want to look at the team, the matchup dynamics. So that's why the whole goal line grade series has been created.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah, the reason I don't show this on the article, this could be really confusing if you don't really know what you're looking for. So in the article, I can actually show the article. It's a little simpler. Yeah, any questions so far? No, okay, yeah. So, Jamie, do you have any thoughts about the goal line grade?
No, that's a great idea, though. I looked at it last week, and I'm glad you put that out there because it's going to be helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, so now it's been with full press coverage the last few years, but decided to head over to Fantasy Six Pack. Join Jamie, who's also a contributor to Fantasy Six Pack. Here, I'll actually show the article right now. So what you'll get on the article is the table. So you'll get each team. This is organized alphabetically, although you can, I think, organize it by
Look at you being fancy and stuff.
Yeah, Fantasy Six Pack. They've got some great tools to allow the tables to be good. So, so you've got all the offenses ranked alphabetically to start. Each team's rushing goal line grade, their passing grade, and then I showcase the difference. So those would be like the three most important things for each team, as opposed to all of this other data, less important. Like it's important, but it's feeding into the grades. So what I simply do is I'm taking the team implied totals, I'm taking the percentage of touchdowns that they've scored in a situation, and the opponent's percentage of touchdowns allowed, as well as the total score. That's what add it all together to get each grade.
Gotcha.
So what I did for the article is, okay, I'll keep it simple. I'll just show the grades and just show the difference, but with some paragraphs kind of explaining my process on why I have Nico Collins as wide receiver 1 in my rankings this week, for instance. Yeah, so that's my, I guess, favorite contribution to fantasy football, where I feel like that's something unique that no one else has done. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I still haven't come across anything close to this. So it's and I find it gets better as the year goes on. More data. We're still, we've got a month worth of data. It's enough to create this, but it will get better as the season goes on.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that. Like it's, something that I have noticed is that there's a lot of things out there in the fantasy space that people do a lot of the same thing. So finding kind of like a niche thing is really important. That's why I'm comparing rankings for my stuff, because we see all these rankings out there, but nobody talks about, like, hey, here are when all these, the most popular websites are put together, do they actually come up to a real consensus, or are there favoritisms? Are there reasons why certain websites lean towards specific players or not? So.
Yeah, good point. Where you could put out your own rankings, but let's take very specific popular websites and put their rankings together, but just isolate their rankings.
Exactly.
Opposed to like Jamie, how many people are in the Fantasy Pros expert consensus ranking contest? I think it's close to 200.
192 last I looked.
192. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there have been years where it's gotten over 200. So like that's a lot of people, and you can. If you don't trust all those sources, but they're all like the ECR is putting them all together. Like if you really like what Topher does on his articles for goingfor2.com, which check out the goingfor2.com website. Suppose we're about 45 minutes in. Probably should have promoed the website that allows us to have this live stream. But Topher's article every week looks at specific ranking systems, comparing just them, and what's that consensus.
And so one thing I like to do when I look at the consensus rankings, I'll compare the two players I'm deciding on, and then say it's a running back. What I'll do is I'll look and say who's the top running back rankers. Oh, Kyle Senra, he's a top 5 running back ranker. So I'll be like, well, I like Kyle's rankings at running back. I'm going to listen to him instead of listening to the guy that's like 97th out of the 192.
I got to shout out Zach Bruner. He's from Flurry Sports. He's number 1 overall right now, and he's pretty high at most positions. So Zach Bruner is probably one of the best rankers right now that you can listen to. And Joe Bond from Fantasy Six Pack as well. I think he's number 3.
Yeah. Well, Joe Bond's consistently in the top 3, top 5 for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he does was really
And,
good stuff there. And
see, we got
Jamie and I are now happy, proud members of Fantasy Six Pack as well.
There you go.
I see Mike has an ugly question.
Drop the mic. Almost wants to drop this question because it's so ugly, but he dropped it for us. Need to Tyler Goodson, Dare Agumba Tuwale. Going for 2, right? And he needs 2 starters. He had to just throw the extra 2 in there. You have to put 2 2s in the question. So yeah, Tyler Goodson, Dare Agumba, Noah Gray. Mention if it's half PPR, full PPR. I think it almost doesn't matter because we have pass catching running backs. So it's not like Ogumbawale and Goodson are better in half PPR because like most of what they're going to do is probably catch passes.
Yeah, that is
part of me just says play the 2 running backs in that like they're probably the number 2 backs on their team, but they're also probably the main pass catching backs. So if especially like for the Texans, if they get into a real shootout with the Bills, maybe Ogumbawale plays more snaps than Cam Akers.
Yeah.
I was going to say shootout between the Jags and Colts. That'd be pretty ugly. But at that same time, it might be a close game where you want that pass catching back out there. It's why I'm a little hesitant on Trey Sermon. Like he's still outside the top 24 running backs for me this week. I think I've got him at like 26 maybe. So I'm a little like I think Sermon would be the guy. It's half PPR. I don't know, man. Like what are you really getting from Noah Gray? Honestly.
Yeah.
Mike would know he's a Chiefs fan, but like 3 targets maybe as Kelsey's backup. I don't think he gets the targets left over by Rice. They'll find other ways to fill that, whether it's Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, God forbid Juju Smith-Schuster.
I was assuming it was Eric Gray.
Oh. You see, I think it was because I just thought Mike is the Chiefs fan. It must be Noah Gray. You're right. Eric Gray does change things a little. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Let us know, Mike. Is that Eric Gray or Noah Gray? I suppose that's pretty important.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's Eric Gray. They're all running backs right there. So
yeah, I was also thinking flex spots too, though. So that's why. Again, I think I associate Mike with Chiefs, so it must have been Noah Gray. Right? That was the place I went. Yeah, let us know, Mike. Although, because here's the thing, like I looked up and I going into the week, I thought, if Singletary's out, Gray might get a lot of work. Looking at last week though, he really didn't. It was mostly Tyron Tracy that got a lot of after Singletary left. So feels like Gray's the backup. Yeah, it's Eric Gray. But he also probably isn't the pass catcher like the other 2 guys are. So while Goodson and Ogumbawale aren't starting either, they're at least out there as like the main 3rd down backs. Really, what does Eric Gray have? Maybe goal line stuff, but do we really trust the Giants?
So question is Eric or what's his name? Hall? Is he active? Evan Hall? Your guy?
Evan Hall.
Yeah.
Hall.
I don't know. Let me go back to the RotoWire inactives. I forgot to look at that.
Because honestly, if he's not active, I would lean definitely with the Goodson. Sermons, he's not a pass catcher. Flacco can throw.
He's barely a runner.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Nope. Evan Hall is active. So you know what? Screw this. I'm ranking Evan Hall the highest because he's actually the best running back there.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. Everyone knows how much I love Evan Hall. But in all seriousness, like that could be a real mess. Whereas I think it's more. Well, Goodson, yeah. I think Ogumbawale is probably the best start of these 3, right? We all agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
No Joe Mixon, no Damian Pierce. He's the number 2 back in what looks like one of the best shootout games. So you want that environment. That Texans-Bills game, I think you want in on that. So then, yeah.
Absolutely.
Between Gray and Goodson. I guess Gray is the number 2 for sure, whereas Goodson might be the number 3, I suppose.
Yeah.
He's been active every week over Evan Hull. So the way the Colts have shown what they've done this year, they clearly view Evan Hull as their 4th running back.
So I'm looking at.
I didn't say it was a smart thing, but that's how they view it.
You know what?
That's rushing lines. Goodson, his over/under is 25.5 with Gray at 17.5, but there's no receptions for Gray. Goodson has 1.5 receptions for 11.5 yards.
And is this underdog, by the way, Jamie?
It's just the rushing lines. Most likely DraftKings.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because here I'm gonna switch this around so Jamie can do his job here. The Underdog Fantasy QR code. Scan that QR code or use the promo code GF2, and you can get up to now $1,000 bonus match. So Underdog really upping the stakes to help you up the stakes on well, every day of the week, because you can do it. It's not just for football; it's for every sport. There's tons of contests, best ball drafts. I mean, Jamie knows all about the best ball drafts. 35 lineups, but probably 3,500 best ball leagues.
At least over 100.
Oof.
All right, potentially 200 best ball teams. Jamie, every week. Okay, we'll say it's over 100 this week, and every week we'll come back and give it more. It's the Jalen Hurts thing, because I remember when everyone was talking, Jalen Hurts can squat 450 pounds, and then the next week they'd say, it's 500, and it seems like every week it exaggerates how much Jalen Hurts can squat. All of a sudden he's squatting 3,000 pounds because we've upped it every week.
I'm kind of here for that, though. Not gonna lie.
All right. So do we? Tyler Goodson, Eric Gray. Who's that second one going to be? This really is ugly.
I'm going to go Goodson.
Yeah, I'm going Goodson as well.
I mean, you're probably going to get like a 1.5 higher. So is it really going to make
it's probably not much.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose with Gray, you're really hoping for the touchdown. With Goodson, you're just hoping he catches a ton of passes. I guess, and I view that situation more likely to happen with Joe Flacco out there. So,
just go with the better offense.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, if Richardson was playing, maybe not. But right now with Flacco, that offense is better. So Goodson and Gumbawale, Mike, is what we're going to go with.
Yep. So
right, 4 minutes left.
I actually have a lineup decision. This is a good one. You ready?
Yeah.
So I am starting Nico Collins and Debo for sure. I have both of those in my top 5, right?
Mm-hmm. This one.
So I need to decide, pick 2 between these guys who are like in my top.
Bench Amari Cooper.
No, he is one of them. Amari Cooper.
Well, I remember you asked this question in Discord or something yesterday.
Yeah, Brian Thomas, Deontay Johnson, and Chris Olave.
I have Cooper ranked a lot lower than you do, because you said you had all 5 of those guys in the top 15. I've actually got Amari Cooper.
I actually lowered Cooper to 17. Brian Thomas right above him at 16. But I have Olave and Deontay in like the top 13. But just because I have them ranked that way doesn't mean that's how it's going to be. I do love Brian Thomas this week for 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yep. I wrote about that in my article, and I like to go in my article. I go through like wide receiver 1, top 12, and then 2, then 3, like different tiers. And my downside play this week was in my wide receiver 1 tier, because Deontay Johnson is now being ranked as wide receiver 11 throughout consensus. He's been incredible in his last 2 weeks. He's been the player we've dreamed of him being. However, besides Nico Collins' big game against the Bears in week 2, no other wide receiver has scored a touchdown against the Bears secondary, and only 2 wide receivers have had more than 4 receptions versus the Bears, and Collins was one of them. I think this week you got to lower your expectations on Johnson.
Yeah, I thought so too, because he is going against Jalen Johnson about half of his snaps. Yep. Johnson, I mean, he only allows 2 to 3 targets a game.
Yeah,
catches but Deontay, he's been getting like 10 to 14 targets. He scored a touchdown the last 2 weeks.
I think he cools off this week.
So who would you sit Deontay for? Would you sit him for Cooper or Brian Thomas?
I'd start Brian Thomas. I even wrote about him in my article, saying that the Colts have allowed 3 100-yard games to wide receivers this year. Yep. And one of those games, the only game they didn't allow it, was when Malik Willis was the Packers quarterback. If it had been Jordan Love, I'm very positive that there would have been a 100-yard receiver in that game too.
They also couldn't stop the run to save their lives. So
yes, and those, and all 3 of those receivers were outside receivers where Brian Thomas plays, and they allowed 5 touchdowns to receivers.
Exactly.
I also have Thomas ranked ahead of both Deontay and Amari Cooper.
All right, so Olave with the Trent McDuffie matchup. Are you starting him over Amari Cooper or Deontay?
I think so.
Yeah.
Keep trusting Chris Olave. No Taysom Hill, I think. So that means he's not there to vulture all the touchdowns from the offense. So in weeks where there's no Taysom Hill, you're free to play all your other saints, I think.
All right. I got it locked in. I think I'm going to win. I already got 30 points from Baker. I got 20 points from Pitts.
You're saying you're playing.
Bijan only got me 10. Godwin only got me 11, but I'll make it up.
The whole Thursday night team in the roster. So again, you're going with Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel, Brian Thomas, and Chris Olave.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I have James Conner. I could play Najee over James Conner, but I think I'm going to go with Conner. What do you guys think?
I do have Connor ranked ahead of Najee. So yeah. Everything you have is how my rankings go. So that is how I would advise it. Clearly, if I've ranked it that way, that's how I think it's going to happen. But as Jamie said, there's no guarantee just because we think something's going to happen.
Any given Sunday.
However, I'm pretty certain Michael Pittman is going to vastly outscore Cortland Sutton. Like, Mike, I don't even know how this is a question. To me, like, I've got Pittman as a top 12 wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Pittman,
a lot higher than Eastar. It was one of if you look at the full press coverage articles, it's the reason I chose him as my image in the article, because it's one of the highest differences among top 12 players. I think people have him basically in like the wide receiver 2 range, almost wide receiver 3 range.
Yeah, I have Pittman at 9.
You're even higher than I am. I have him at 11. So yeah, I think it's Mike. It's not even close. I'm shocked you'd even ask that.
Yeah,
if Richardson was playing, it makes sense. But because Joe Flacco is the quarterback, I think it's easy.
Yep.
There we go. Sutton, 37.
And now I went to that one quickly. Ooh, that might even be higher than me, Jamie. I think I just. Oh no, actually, never mind. I have from 36. Wow, we're in line. Why do I have Sutton that high? It feels too high. But anyway.
So it seems like everyone that we rank.
You know what? 4 teams on bye, injuries. Yeah, everyone's going to be higher than what we expect. I went with that one first because I feel like this question's a lot more difficult. So Justin Pierce asking us, Brian Thomas Jr. or Terry McLaurin, half PPR. Okay. In my half PPR rankings, I've got McLaurin 14, Brian Thomas 15. So I totally get why you can't decide, because I'm having a hard time deciding too. I don't even have any clarity on this one.
Just matchup wise, I think I have this in one of my 35 leagues, and I sat McLaurin for Brian Thomas just because McLaurin's going to have a tougher day with the secondary. Like I know Malik Neighbors kind of blew him out, but they were mismatching him all over. McLaurin's not going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing is McLaurin has the better quarterback.
Yes. Oh, for sure. But I think
Caleb Williams had a huge game against the Colts. So why can't this be a breakout game for Trevor Lawrence?
Is Lawrence better than Caleb Williams?
He's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's on the Bears. Yeah, I guess like in theory it's a bad matchup against the Browns. But man, like I'm to the point where I think Jaden Daniels is a top 3 real life NFL quarterback right now, and the only quarterbacks better than him are Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. So like the matchup doesn't matter on those weeks. Is kind of my approach. Now that he's found that connection with McLaurin, it's just the volume's going to be there. He's got no choice but to pass it to McLaurin a ton. So that's again why I have McLaurin 1 spot ahead of Thomas. Obviously, Jamie's doing the opposite, going Thomas. Topher.
Yeah, I got him 4 spots lower than Thomas.
Okay.
I'm full throttle BTJ this week.
Yes, same
full
here.
Throttle.
Yeah, my friend Akili and I, we co-manage a team, and I think Jamie might know him from the full press.
Hey, Garrett Wilson got a touchdown.
Wow. From Rodgers or from Martinez or whoever else was the backup?
Damn.
Yeah, it was Rodgers. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
No,
But anyway, I'll just say
good.
we're starting Brian Thomas over Jackson Smith and Jigba this week. So yeah. BTJ. Well, past 12:30, no other questions. So be satisfied with this episode, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. Make sure we get those questions always coming starting next week.
I'm sure Zach will let us know next week how we did.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, he doesn't really have to let us know how he did, because I'll always, like, as the games are going on, I'm thinking, oh, God, we messed up again, didn't we? So, like, we know coming in what to expect, too.
Yes.
But, yeah, Thank you, Zach, every week. Drop the mic. Mike Hicks, one of the Going for Two Live members, co-hosts with Jamie on the Tuesday Night Fantasy Cheat Sheet. Tuesdays at 9:30 Eastern, and that's just one of many great Going for Two Live shows, so be sure to subscribe and like the videos. I think there's a thing on YouTube. You can put a notification bell, and that'll give you updates when all these shows go live, whether it's the Cheat Sheet, Speak on It, the Armchair Show, which with the new co-host Topher Kurt. Are you on this week or?
Not that I know of. I can't because I actually have parent-teacher conferences this week, being good old teacher that I am. So
Those are fun.
yes.
Already there.
Always.
Oh yeah, it is October. Jeez, man.
Right?
Yeah, mid-October basically. Or not quite mid-October yet, but
We're getting there though. It'll be here before
tons of
we
great
know
shows. I co-host the Monday night pregame show, so tomorrow night we'll be talking Chiefs Saints, everyone's favorite teams, because everyone loves the Chiefs and isn't tired of them yet.
it.
Here we are in prime time again. But yes, thank you NFL for giving us all these games. Thank you Jeff Lambert for the platform again. Going2.com.
Yes.
There's also a Going for Two Discord, and it's free to join. There's actually a link on the Going for Two website to join there directly. Or I think you could probably go to Discord and search it up. But easy fix to find it is, again, go to going2.com. There's a purple Discord button. Again, free to join. There's tons of great channels, tons of people talking a lot, asking questions, start sit, waivers, just random fantasy talk too. It's great. Like this morning, this is great talking with Topher and Jamie.
Oh,
great to have questions from everyone. Zach, Albert, Robin. Again, Robin, thank you for the super chat. Daniel, Mike, and Justin with this most recent question. So appreciate everyone for joining us on this stream. Appreciate my co-hosts, Topher and Jamie. Anything to say for either of you guys? Jamie?
Last minute, some bets here. Make sure you do take the Brian Thomas Jr., take the over yards. I think it's 56.5.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely smash that. Also, smash his touchdown. Wicks touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Bet on that. Also,
and go Melton Vultures it.
Also, matchup with DK Metcalf. Take his over yards. Take his over catches. He's got a juicy matchup. And one I found the Cincinnati Ravens game. Zach Moss, right? His longest rush, take the under 9.5 yards, because Baltimore, I don't think, has let a rush go past 6.5 all season.
My gosh.
And Moss. So, go ahead and smash that under.
I love that.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Actually, Jamie, on the Metcalf thing, they talked about this on the Armchair DFS show on Friday. I think Jeff Lambert was mentioning the cornerback matchup between him and is it Deontay Banks?
Yeah, Banks is pretty bad.
But the thing, apparently it's not just the highest matchup this week, it's the highest rated matchup of the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
So Metcalf should smash.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like a lot of what you said. I'm a little hesitant. I got to say, Jamie, the one I'm a little hesitant on is the Dontavian Wicks touchdown.
I love it, man, because who are they playing this week?
The Rams.
The Rams.
Okay, so the Rams, I believe when I looked at it, they only allowed like 9.5 points to the slot. So they are going to be going to the outside more. So I do like Wicks on the outside.
Yeah, but I also think the Packers are gonna see that and not target Reed though.
True.
True. Yeah.
We do have one more before we go.
Jackson or Daniels? Like, is this Lamar Jackson versus Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, that's like
if so, it's very easily Lamar Jackson. I've got him at QB1 this week, and like Daniels is like, I don't even think he's in the top 20. So if it's Lamar Jackson versus Jaden Daniels, it's so easily Lamar Jackson. But that's why I feel like I'm missing something. Like, is there someone else like this could be? Like, let us know maybe the full names, Justin.
No, I have Lamar Jackson at 1. I have Jaden Daniels at 5. So I have him a little higher.
Sorry, not Daniel Jones, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I'm like, you are definitely I'm looking at Jaden Daniels. He's playing Cleveland. He should not be down that low. What are you smoking, Kyle?
Actually, nothing. That's the problem. I haven't smoked anything today because I'm so freaking sick. Wow. How did I? Yeah, okay. I understand this question now. Lamar Jackson's my QB1 though. So as much as I love Jaden Daniels and he's like my new favorite NFL player, I'd still go Lamar here.
Agree.
This is almost a situation where you want to trade one, because this is going to be a nightmare to have to pick between every single week. And there's so much upside with them that like what you could get in return, pivot down to another quarterback and get like another starter basically.
But with the injury risk for both of them, wouldn't you want to?
Yeah, you know what? You play defense, right? Because then like you never have to play against the other if you have both. You just kind of try and play the matchups each week and see who's better. Kind of like this environment though against the Bengals.
Yeah, and his next one, he wants to pair Jackson and Henry
Oh,
yeah, I like that. I have that stack in the Scott Fishbowl, and it's been
love
crushing.
that for you.
Yeah, and I mean the Scott Fish will have the points per carry, so like a quarterback rushing and a running back, like that is a more viable stack there. But even in GPP, I think that's fine. Differentiate, right? Like the thought maybe is that okay, it's all on the ground, it's tons for Henry. Lamar will get his way, and he'll get like rushing yards and maybe a passing touchdown. But who does that go to is so difficult to dissect. Like those are the two that are going to touch the ball the most. So
yeah,
two volume guys, right?
Yeah, I love that Henry Jackson stack.
Yeah, because in theory, I'm not a DFS expert, but like a running back to quarterback doesn't necessarily correlate the best. But because of that, people might avoid it more. And in a GPP where you want to differentiate them, that might not be super popular. Yeah, that's great stuff. Topher, did you want to say anything before we left it?
I'm good to go. Thank you, though.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Topher. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, all the listeners and viewers. Once again, Kyle Senra here with two great co-hosts on Going for Two Sunday morning start sit show. No, stream. Reference to Dan the B-League said. Check out his prop show. You got 10. Games are in like 20 minutes. He's got a 10-minute prop show that just dropped this morning.
There you go.
As soon as we exit here, you got all the time in the world to go watch Dan. Props to Dan. Props to both of you. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Topher. Thank you, everyone. See you all next week.